Hey, what's up everyone? Dragon back again here to tell you that you should be reading Swamp. So Swamp is a 1985 science fiction horror novel written by Peter Tremaine and basically takes place in the Florida Everglades where a series of grisly murders begin to take place. Now right away a lot of people attribute these killings to alligators, which for those of you who are not familiar with this part of the United States, if you've lived abroad, you know, it's a very swampy, kind of reclusive area where, yes, alligators live, and some alligators can get up to, like, 15, almost 20 feet long, so not a complete far-fetched notion that a big carnivorous animal could be responsible for these killings. However, as the killings progress, it becomes kind of obvious that there is, while yes, being an animal, it is an animal of perhaps larger stature, if you will, behind these killings. Now, interestingly enough, as the investigation progresses, you come to learn that there are kind of very reclusive, very kind of removed groups of people living deep within the Florida Everglades who still practice like voodoo and things of that nature, who are aware of the beast and kind of have been living alongside it. Now, the big question is, okay, how can something like this, both culture and animal, be living in essentially the backyard of the United States and no one really know about it? And that's basically what the story is about. It's not so much just about the killings themselves, which on the surface it's kind of a classic creature feature story. I won't spoil what the creature is. I'll let you discover that for yourselves when you read it. But beneath that, it's kind of like, okay, the fact that this is taking place right in our backyard, unlike the Relic, which was a creature that was brought to kind of New York City and altered through something from kind of extraordinary means, or watchers, or it's a genetically engineered organism. This is a creature that's always been there, and we've just never seen it because we are so often looking for undiscovered lands. Whenever we're looking for something new, something unknown, we look to the horizon, and we never think sometimes to look in our own backyard, and we kind of look to that horizon usually at the expense of just kind of glancing over your shoulder and realizing that what you might be looking for, that the fantastical, that the unbelievable, might be right behind you. But because you're literally never look there, because you're constantly just assuming that you know everything that is around you, that you just don't notice something that is literally right there, that if you just probed a little deeper, looked a little closer, you would discover something extraordinary. And that's really what the story is about. It's about what we lose by always assuming that something grand is beyond, so that it's somewhere else. That we always seem to do that at the expense of what might be around us. Now, granted, I realize this novel takes place in 1985, pre-internet, pre-digital, that kind of thing. So you could argue that maybe something like that would be a little bit more far-fetched by today, but still, it's the idea of that. If you've traveled around the United States, or even wherever you're from, whether you live in Europe, Asia, wherever, there are places that you probably have never seen that would surprise you when you would see them, because you never think to look in your own backyard. You assume that you know everything there is to know about where you come from, and that for you to find something new and exciting, you have to go somewhere else. Hence tourism. But again, there's so many corners of the world that are right in our midst that we just don't bother looking, that probably house and hide so many miraculous things that we would be surprised to find. And in the case of this story, it's more of like a dangerous thing, that there's something dangerous and nefarious living in our midst. And it's the idea that the beasts that we keep at bay are perhaps closer, and that as we become more civilized, more modern, we ironically start to overlook these things because we just assume that we've conquered our environment, we've conquered our little bubble, if you will, that there's no longer any threat here. There's nothing that could sneak up and get us here, that any kind of threat like that comes from somewhere else far away. And it is because of this thinking that something like this can sneak up on us and get us, that the predators can lie in wait because we're just not paying attention anymore. So that's basically the crux of the story, is the idea that if you're looking for something special, something different, it doesn't have to just be like a scary thing. In this case of this story, it's like a horror aspect, but it could be something amazing too. But it's the idea that before you go looking off somewhere far away, not that I'm deterring anyone from traveling, take a look around you, because you might be surprised what you find literally in your own backyard. And that's basically what this story is about. And that's also the idea that these cultures that seem to be almost unchanged for hundreds of years have remained that way because we have just kind of forgotten about them and cut them off. So people, places, cultures, things that might be happening close, that are very different, that seem almost arcane from a bygone era, might be happening closer than you think. But you wouldn't know because you're not looking for it right here. So that's kind of what the story's about. It's a cautionary tale. It's like, don't forget about your surroundings because you never know what could be lurking just out of sight. But at the same time, don't ignore your surroundings either because something amazing could be just out of sight. And that's also kind of the point of the story too. While this thing is dangerous, it also represents something rather incredible from a zoological and paleontological aspect. Again, won't spoil it for you. But again, yeah, the crux of the story is, before you go far away to find something unknown, unseen, take a quick glance around. Doesn't mean you're going to find anything, but you just might. And you shouldn't overlook, what's around you because you have become accustomed to thinking that it's mundane or unimportant. Because while it may be your backyard, if there's someone far away, where you live might be that far away land. They're just as where they live, for you, might be that far away exotic place. So take a look around yourself and maybe take a greater appreciation of what's around you and take a closer look because you might just be surprised what you find. So with that said, I recommend Swamp. Have you read it? If so, what did you think? If you haven't, I'll leave some links in the description section. We can go pick it up, give it a read. It's not a long book, so it won't take you too much time. But yeah, go through it, see if you like it, come back, give me some of your thoughts. I'd love to know what you think. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace!